I stood in Marcus Holt's office, watching him lean back in his leather chair with that smile I'd learned to fear over the past 8 months. The smile that meant he was about to say something that would make my stomach turn. Outside his glass walls, the marketing department buzzed with Friday afternoon energy, but inside this room the air felt thick and wrong. "Close the door, Maya," he said casually, like he was asking me to pass him a stapler. My hand trembled slightly as I pulled the door shut. I'd been dreading this meeting since he'd sent the calendar invite that morning with no subject line, just a red exclamation mark indicating urgency. Through the glass, I could see my desk where I'd left my phone deliberately. What I had in my blazer pocket was much more important. A small voice recorder I'd bought 3 days ago after the incident in the parking garage. Marcus stood and walked around his desk, stopping too close to me. I could smell his expensive cologne mixed with coffee breath. "You've been avoiding me," he said quietly. "I don't appreciate that, Maya. We had an understanding." "We don't have any understanding," I replied, keeping my voice steady even though my heart hammered against my ribs. "You're my manager. That's our only relationship." His smile disappeared. The understanding Marcus referred to started 6 months ago during the annual sales conference in Chicago. I'd been with Hartley Media Solutions for 2 years, working my way up from junior copywriter to senior content strategist. I loved my job. I was good at it. Then Marcus joined as marketing director and everything changed. At first it was small things. Comments about my appearance that lasted a beat too long. His hand on my lower back when he walked past my desk. Emails sent at midnight asking if I was still awake. I told myself I was overreacting, that this was just his management style, that I needed to be professional. Then came Chicago. Our team had celebrated landing the Riverside Pharma account worth nearly $2 million. I'd led the pitch presentation. Marcus cornered me in the hotel bar after everyone else had gone to bed. "You're wasted in content strategy," he'd said, sliding onto the bar stool next to mine. "You should be in client relations. You know how to make people feel special." His hand landed on my knee. I'd frozen. Every workplace harassment training video I'd ever watched told me to speak up immediately, to set clear boundaries. But Marcus held my career in his hands. He controlled my projects, my raises, my promotion opportunities. I'd moved away that night in Chicago, making an excuse about an early morning call. Marcus had laughed, but his eyes stayed cold. The next week, back in the office, he'd started criticizing my work. Reports I'd submitted that he'd previously praised suddenly had issues. He questioned my judgment in meetings. He excluded me from important client calls. The message was clear: play along or suffer the consequences. My friend Keisha from the design team noticed the change immediately. We'd grabbed lunch at the sandwich shop across the street, and I'd nearly broken down in the booth. "He's retaliating because I rejected him," I'd whispered, checking to make sure no one from the office could hear us. Keisha's face hardened. "You need to report this, Maya. Go to HR. And say what? That he touched my knee once at a bar and now he's mean to me? You know how this works, Keisha. I'll be labeled difficult, a troublemaker. He'll deny everything and I'll be pushed out." She'd grabbed my hand across the table. "Then document everything. Every interaction, every email, every weird comment. Build a case." I'd started documenting that same day. A private folder on my personal laptop with dates, times, exact quotes. But documentation wasn't enough. I needed proof. The parking garage incident happened on a Wednesday evening. Most people had left for the day, but I'd stayed late finishing the quarterly content calendar. The office building shared underground parking with 3 other companies, so it was usually quiet after 6. I just unlocked my car when I heard footsteps behind me. Fast footsteps. Before I could turn around, Marcus was there, blocking me against the driver's side door. "Running away again?" His voice was different from his office voice. Harder. "You think you can just ignore me, Maya? Act like I don't exist." Marcus, please step back. My keys bit into my palm as I squeezed them. You're too close. I'm your manager. I can be as close as I want. His hands slammed against the car window next to my head, making me flinch. You owe me respect. You owe me gratitude for everything I've done for your career. You haven't done anything for my career, I said, and even scared I felt anger rising. I earned my position. I do good work. He'd laughed then. Actually laughed. You really believe that? Sweetheart, half the people in that office could do your job. The only reason you're still here is because I allow it. Then he'd leaned in so close I could feel his breath on my face. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to stop being difficult. You're going to be friendly, appreciative. And if you even think about complaining to HR or anyone else, I will destroy you. I have contacts at every major agency in this city. One phone call from me and you'll never work in marketing again. He'd stepped back then, straightening his tie like nothing had happened. See you Monday, Maya. Have a nice weekend. I'd sat in my car for 20 minutes after he left, shaking so hard I couldn't start the engine. When I finally got home, I'd opened my laptop and added every detail to my documentation file. Then I'd done something else. I'd researched recording laws in our state. Single-party consent. That meant I could legally record conversations I was part of without telling the other person. The voice recorder arrived 2 days later. Small enough to fit in my pocket with surprisingly good audio quality according to the reviews. I'd carried it with me every day since then, waiting for the right moment. Waiting for Marcus to threaten me again when I had proof. Now, standing in his office with the door closed and the recorder running in my blazer pocket, I felt strangely calm. This was it. This was the moment that would either save my career or end it. I need you to understand something, Marcus continued, circling back behind his desk like a shark. I've been very patient with you, Maya. Very generous. But my patience has limits. What exactly do you want from me? I asked. The recorder would pick up everything as long as I kept him talking. He smiled again. I want you to remember who's in charge here. I want you to stop acting like you're too good for my attention. You're not some executive, Maya. You're a content strategist. Replaceable. Is that a threat? It's reality. He pulled out his phone and started scrolling. I've been reviewing your performance. You've been slipping lately. Missing deadlines. Quality issues. I'm concerned about whether you're really committed to this role. My jaw clenched. Every deadline I'd met. Every project delivered on time. He was lying and we both knew it. I haven't missed a single deadline, I said clearly. Every project I've handled has exceeded client expectations. You know that. That's not what my records show. Then your records are wrong, I replied, keeping my voice level. And if you're planning to use false performance issues to retaliate against me for rejecting your advances, that's illegal, Marcus. That's textbook sexual harassment. His face changed. The casual cruelty disappeared, replaced by something colder. More dangerous. He stood up slowly and walked around the desk again. Did you just accuse me of harassment? His voice was quiet. Too quiet. I'm stating facts. You've made unwanted advances. You've touched me inappropriately. You've sent inappropriate messages. And now you're threatening my job because I won't reciprocate. He moved closer. You have no proof of any of that. It's your word against mine. And I'm a director, Maya. You're nobody. I'm an employee with rights. Rights. He laughed. Let me tell you about rights. I have the right to manage my team as I see fit. I have the right to address performance issues. And I have the right to make hiring and firing recommendations. He leaned against his desk, crossing his arms. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to forget this conversation ever took place. You're going to come in Monday with a better attitude. And you're going to stop acting like a victim. And if I don't? I asked. Then I'll have no choice but to start formal disciplinary proceedings. Written warnings. Performance improvement plans. The whole process. It usually takes about 3 months to build a termination case. But I'm very thorough. He picked up a folder from his desk and tapped it. I've already started the documentation. Just in case. My heart sank. He'd been planning this. Building a false record to justify firing me if I didn't comply. It was calculated. Methodical. The kind of thing that would hold up if I tried to fight back later. Unless I had evidence. You can't do this, I said. I absolutely can. And if you try to go to HR or file any kind of complaint, I'll make sure every marketing director in the industry knows you're a problem employee. You'll be unhireable, Maya. Blacklisted. Is that really what you want? The word blacklisted hung in the air. He'd said it clearly, threatened it explicitly. The recorder captured every syllable. So my choices are let you harass me or lose my career? Your choice is to be smart or be stupid. He moved closer again, invading my space deliberately. Be smart, Maya. It's easier for everyone. I took a step back, creating distance. I need to think about this. No. His voice sharpened. You need to decide right now. Are you going to be part of this team or not? I'm part of the team. I've always been part of the team. Then prove it. Have dinner with me tonight. Just the two of us. We'll talk things through. Clear the air. There it was. The explicit proposition. Not even disguised as a work meeting anymore. No, Marcus. That's not appropriate. His expression darkened. You're making a mistake. Maybe. But it's my mistake to make. I turned toward the door. My hand was on the handle when he spoke again. Walk out that door and your career here is over. I'll have security escort you out by Monday afternoon. You'll be gone before you can even clean out your desk. I paused. Turned back. You're really going to fire me because I won't have dinner with you? I'm going to fire you for performance issues and insubordination. The dinner was me trying to help you. Trying to mentor you. But you're too stubborn to accept help. I looked at him standing there in his expensive suit with his executive office and his complete confidence that he could destroy me without consequences. And I smiled. Okay, Marcus. Thank you for clarifying your position. His eyebrows rose slightly. He hadn't expected me to smile. Hadn't expected me to sound calm. So you'll reconsider? No. I'm going to leave now. And you're going to do whatever you think you need to do. I walked out before he could respond. Through the office, past the cubicles where a few people still worked with their heads down, pretending they hadn't noticed me leaving the director's office. Into the bathroom where I finally let myself breathe. My hands shook as I pulled the voice recorder from my pocket and stopped the recording. 22 minutes of audio. Every threat. Every inappropriate comment. Every illegal statement. I had him. But now I needed to be smart about what to do with it. Going to HR was risky. They might protect the company instead of protecting me. I needed advice. I needed help. I texted Keisha. Can you come over tonight? It's important. Her response came back immediately. Already on my way. Bring wine. Keisha arrived at my apartment with 2 bottles of wine and a pizza. She took one look at my face and pulled me into a hug. What happened? I told her everything while we sat on my couch. The parking garage. The voice recorder. Today's meeting. When I played back the audio, her face went through a series of expressions. Shock, anger, disgust. Maya, this is gold, she said when the recording ended. This is exactly what you need. He literally threatened to blacklist you. He admitted he's building a false case against you. Any lawyer would kill for evidence this clear. But what do I do with it? If I go to HR, Marcus might convince them I'm the problem. He's been there longer than me. He has relationships with the executive. Keisha poured more wine. You don't go to HR. Not yet. You go to a lawyer first. Get advice on the best way to handle this legally. Then you decide whether to report internally or file a formal complaint. Lawyers are expensive. Employment lawyers usually work on contingency for harassment cases, especially when you have evidence like this. She grabbed her phone. My cousin Denise is an attorney. She doesn't do employment law, but she can refer you to someone good. By midnight, I had the name and number of Patricia Vance, an employment attorney who specialized in workplace harassment cases. Keisha's cousin had sent a glowing recommendation. Patricia doesn't mess around. If you have a case, she'll fight for you. Monday morning felt surreal. I got dressed for work like normal. Made coffee. Drove to the office. But everything felt different now. I was walking into enemy territory. Marcus wasn't in yet when I arrived. I spent the first hour organizing my files, making copies of everything I might need. Project documentation, performance reviews, emails that showed my work quality. If he was going to try to build a false case against me, I wanted proof of the truth. At 9:30, Marcus walked past my desk without looking at me. No greeting. No acknowledgement. Like I didn't exist. By 10:15, an email appeared in my inbox. Subject line, Performance Improvement Plan. My stomach dropped as I opened it. 3 pages of supposed performance issues. Missed deadlines that never happened. Quality complaints from clients who'd actually sent praise. Behavioral concerns about my attitude and teamwork. All lies. But documented lies in official company format with HR copied. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. This is Patricia Vance. Denise gave me your information. Can you come to my office today at 5? Free consultation. I responded immediately. Yes. Thank you. The rest of the day crawled by. Marcus held a team meeting where he announced new quality control procedures. Everyone would now submit work to him for review before it went to clients. He looked directly at me when he said it. We need to maintain standards. Some team members have been getting sloppy. After the meeting, my coworker James stopped by my desk. We'd started at the company around the same time and had always been friendly. Hey, what's going on with you and Marcus? He asked quietly. He's been weird about you lately. I wanted to tell him everything, but I couldn't risk it. Not yet. Just some disagreements about project direction, I said carefully. Nothing major. James didn't look convinced, but he dropped it. At 4:30, I packed my bag and headed out. Marcus watched me leave from his office. I could feel his eyes following me to the elevator. Patricia Vance's office was in a sleek building downtown. She was younger than I expected, maybe 40, with sharp eyes and a confident handshake. Tell me everything, she said once we were settled in her conference room. Start from the beginning. I talked for an hour. She took notes, occasionally stopping me to ask specific questions. When I played the recording, her expression never changed, but her pen moved faster across her legal pad. This is textbook quid pro quo harassment, she said when I finished. He's conditioning your employment on accepting his advances. The blacklist threat makes it even worse. That's intentional interference with your career prospects. Can I use the recording legally? Absolutely. Single-party consent state. You were part of the conversation. It's admissible. She leaned back in her chair. Here's what I recommend. We send a formal demand letter to the company's legal department. We outline the harassment, the retaliation, and the threats. We include a transcript of the recording, and we give them a chance to resolve this before we file with the EEOC or pursue litigation. What happens then? Either they take it seriously, investigate, and address it, or they don't and we proceed with formal complaints. What if they fire me? Then we add wrongful termination to the list of claims. But honestly, Maya, most companies don't want this kind of liability. Especially with evidence this strong. They'll likely separate Marcus and offer you a settlement. I don't want a settlement. I want my job. I love my job. Patricia smiled. Then we make that clear in the demand letter. But be prepared, Maya. Even if you stay, things might be uncomfortable. People will know what happened. The company might see you as a liability. So either way I lose? Not necessarily. You might lose this particular job, but you win your dignity and your legal rights. And you prevent Marcus from doing this to someone else. I thought about that. How many other women had Marcus harassed? How many had stayed quiet because they were afraid? Okay, let's send the letter. Patricia pulled out a retainer agreement. My fee is contingent. If we recover damages through settlement or litigation, I take 33%. If nothing is recovered, you owe nothing. Sign here. I signed. There was no going back now. The demand letter went out Wednesday morning via certified mail and email to Hartley Media Solutions legal department and CEO. Patricia had included a detailed timeline of events, a transcript of the recorded conversation, and a clear list of violations. By Wednesday afternoon, my phone rang. Unknown number. Maya Torres? A woman's voice. Professional. Tense. Yes. This is Victoria Chen. I'm the General Counsel for Hartley Media Solutions. I've received correspondence from your attorney regarding allegations against Marcus Holt. I'd like to schedule a meeting to discuss this matter. My heart raced. I have legal representation. All communication should go through my attorney. I understand. But I wanted to reach out personally to assure you we take these allegations very seriously. We'll be conducting an immediate investigation. In the meantime, I'm asking that you take paid leave while we sort this out. Paid leave. That could mean they believed me. Or it could mean they were trying to keep me quiet while they figured out how to protect Marcus. I'll discuss it with my attorney and get back to you, I said. Of course. I've already reached out to Ms. Vance. We'll be in touch. Patricia called 10 minutes later. They're taking it seriously. Victoria Chen has a good reputation. She's not someone who sweeps things under the rug. So what does paid leave mean? It means they don't want you and Marcus in the same office while they investigate. It's actually a good sign. It suggests they're worried about retaliation. When will I know what's happening? These investigations usually take a few weeks. They'll interview witnesses, review documents, examine his personnel file. If they find corroborating evidence, Marcus will likely be terminated. And if they don't? We file with the EEOC and prepare for litigation. But Maya, I've been doing this for 15 years. Companies don't respond this quickly unless they know there's a problem. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Marcus sitting in his office, probably getting the same phone calls. Was he scared? Angry? Planning his defense? My phone buzzed at 2 in the morning. A text from a number I didn't recognize. You're going to regret this. You have no idea what you've started. I screenshot the text and forwarded it to Patricia immediately. Even at 2 in the morning, she responded. Forward to Victoria Chen. This is witness tampering. Strengthens your case. The investigation moved faster than I expected. By Friday, Victoria Chen called Patricia to schedule an in-person meeting for Monday morning. They want to present their findings, Patricia explained. This is good, Maya. If they had nothing, they'd drag this out. Monday morning, I dressed carefully. Professional but not too formal. I wanted to look confident, capable, like someone who deserved to be believed. Patricia met me outside the Hartley Media Building. Let me do most of the talking. If they ask you direct questions, answer honestly but briefly. Don't elaborate unless I tell you to. We rode the elevator to the executive floor. I'd never been up here before. The offices were bigger, the furniture nicer. This was where the real decisions got made. Victoria Chen greeted us in a large conference room. With her was Thomas Hartley, the company's CEO, and someone I didn't recognize. This is Amanda Price from our external investigation firm, Victoria explained. We brought in a third party to ensure objectivity. We all sat. Victoria opened a thick folder. Maya, I want to start by apologizing on behalf of Hartley Media Solutions. After a thorough investigation, we've concluded that Marcus Holt engaged in serious misconduct, including sexual harassment and retaliation. I felt Patricia's hand squeeze mine under the table. Victoria continued. We've interviewed 12 employees. 7 of them corroborated aspects of your account. 3 women reported similar inappropriate behavior from Mr. Holt, though none had previously filed complaints. 7 people. 3 other women. I wasn't alone. I'd never been alone. Mr. Holt's employment was terminated Friday afternoon. He's been escorted from the building and will not be returning. Thomas Hartley spoke for the first time. He was older than I expected, with tired eyes. Ms. Torres, I want to personally apologize. This should never have happened. We failed you, and we failed the other women who experienced harassment. What happens now? I asked. That's up to you, Victoria said. We'd like to offer you your position back with a promotion to senior marketing strategist and a 15% raise. We'll also provide additional harassment training for all managers and create a direct reporting line to HR that bypasses department directors. Patricia leaned forward. My client also wants assurance that there will be no retaliation and that her personnel file will be cleared of the false performance improvement plan Marcus Holt initiated. Absolutely, Victoria agreed. All documentation related to that PIP has been removed and destroyed. I need time to think about this, I said. Thomas nodded. Take whatever time you need. But I hope you'll consider staying, Maya. We need people with your integrity. Outside the building, Patricia hugged me. You did it. You actually did it. I don't know if I can go back, I admitted. Everyone will know what happened. They'll know you stood up for yourself. They'll know you stopped a predator. That's nothing to be ashamed of. I took a week to decide. Keisha came over every night and we talked through all the options. Leave and start fresh somewhere else. Stay and prove I belonged. In the end, I chose to stay. Not because it was easy, but because I'd earned my place at that company. I'd done good work. Made real contributions. Marcus was gone, but my accomplishments remained. My first day back felt strange. People looked at me differently. Some with respect. Some with discomfort. A few avoided eye contact entirely. But James stopped by my desk with coffee. Glad you're back, he said simply. Keisha sent flowers with a card that read, Hero. And slowly things began to feel normal again. 3 months later, I was sitting in my new office. Senior marketing strategist with my name on the door. The Riverside Pharma account had expanded and I was leading the team. Victoria Chen stopped by one afternoon. I wanted to give you an update. 2 of the other women who came forward during the investigation have also received settlements. And we've completely overhauled our harassment reporting procedures. What happened to Marcus? I asked. He's facing a civil suit from one of the other victims, and his reputation in the industry is destroyed. Several people have reached out to warn their companies about him. The blacklist he'd threatened me with had become his own reality. Thank you for taking this seriously, I said. Thank you for having the courage to speak up. You changed this company for the better. After she left, I pulled out the voice recorder I'd kept in my desk drawer. I'd never need to use it again, but I kept it as a reminder. A reminder that evidence matters. That speaking up matters. That one person's courage can stop a predator. 6 months after Marcus's termination, I was promoted again. Director of Content Strategy, the position Marcus had once held. Thomas Hartley called me into his office to deliver the news personally. You've earned this, Maya. Your work speaks for itself. Thank you, sir. I won't let you down. You haven't yet. He paused. I want you to know something. After the investigation, I reviewed Marcus's entire tenure here. He'd been reported twice before for inappropriate behavior. Both complaints were dismissed as misunderstandings. We failed those women. We almost failed you. What changed? Evidence. You had proof we couldn't ignore. But you shouldn't have needed proof, Maya. You should have been believed the first time you spoke up. It was the most honest thing anyone at the company had said to me. I'm making changes, Thomas continued. Real changes. And I want your input. You've been through this. You understand what needs to be different. Over the next few months, I worked with HR to redesign the harassment reporting system. We created anonymous hotlines, mandatory third-party investigations, protections for complainants. It wasn't perfect, but it was better. A year after everything happened, I gave a presentation at a Women in Business conference. The topic was workplace harassment and the importance of documentation. I told my story, the fear, the recordings, the investigation, the outcome. Afterward, a young woman approached me. She was maybe 25 with terrified eyes. My manager keeps asking me out, she said quietly. I've said no, but he won't stop. I'm scared to report it. I pulled out my business card. Document everything. Dates, times, exact words. Get evidence if you can. And call me. I'll help you find resources. She took the card with shaking hands. Thank you. Watching her walk away, I thought about the Maya from 2 years ago. The one who'd been terrified in a parking garage. The one who'd almost let fear win. That Maya had been brave. But this Maya, the one who could help others, was stronger. These days, I still work at Hartley Media Solutions. I love my job again. The fear that used to follow me through the office is gone. I walk past Marcus's old office, now occupied by a woman named Carmen who treats her team with respect and never closes her door for private meetings unless HR is present. Sometimes I think about what would have happened if I hadn't bought that voice recorder. If I hadn't documented everything. If I hadn't found the courage to speak up. Marcus would still be there. Still harassing women. Still threatening careers. Still getting away with it. But I did speak up. And everything changed. Keisha got promoted to senior designer with her own team. We still have lunch every Friday at the sandwich shop across the street. Sometimes we talk about work. Sometimes we just laugh. You know what I'm proudest of? She asked me one Friday. What? That you didn't just save yourself. You saved everyone who comes after you. That night, I went home to my apartment. I made dinner. I watched a movie. I lived my normal life. But I kept the voice recorder in my nightstand. Just in case. Not because I expected to need it again, but because it reminded me of something important. Power doesn't always come from a title or a corner office. Sometimes power comes from being prepared, from knowing your rights, from refusing to be silenced. Marcus Holt had tried to destroy my career. He'd threatened to blacklist me, to ruin my reputation, to make me disappear. He'd counted on my fear keeping me quiet. But fear didn't win. Truth did. The recording I made that day in his office changed everything. Not just for me, but for everyone who'd been hurt by him. For everyone who came forward after me. For every person who now works in a company that takes harassment seriously because they saw what happened when it didn't. I still think about that moment sometimes. Standing in Marcus's office with the recorder in my pocket, knowing that what I was doing could either save me or destroy me. The fear had been real. The risk had been real. But so was my courage. And in the end, courage was enough. It had to be. Because staying silent wasn't an option anymore. Because I deserved better. Because we all deserved better. Marcus learned that the hard way. And I learned something too. That speaking up even when you're terrified is the only way things ever change. That one person with evidence and determination can take down someone who seemed untouchable. I won. Not because I was lucky, but because I was prepared. Because I waited for the perfect moment. And when that moment came, I didn't hesitate.